They were the best-dressed cops on television.
Who do you think you are to ask us to beg for your help? Let's nail this pig.
Detectives Sonny Crockett and Ricardo Tubbs were just as sexy and hip as their Gold Coast backdrop. No police precinct has ever looked this good.
Score strictly not his style.
These well-heeled cops became well known for their forward fashion sense, and the Miami Vice look quickly became the fabric of men's style in the 80s.
It changed the way men dressed in the world. It opened up men's closets to the possibility of color, of comfort.
Jody Tillen was the costume designer for the first season. In her early conversations with executive producer Michael Mann, it was clear fashion would play a critical role in the show.
He had some really sort of edgy ideas, you know, men in pastels, and clothes being another character in the story. It was very interesting to me.
The cover of GQ.
True, few cops could afford Italian suits and $200 haircuts. But Crockett and Tubbs weren't ordinary cops. Their clothes had to reflect their day jobs.
They had to be involved with drug dealers who spent their money on clothes, jewelry, cars, and women. So I had to make them totally mesh into that world in a comfortable way.
Scraping by on 4 hours sleep a day, living undercover for weeks at a time. Dealer this week, outlaw biker the next. If it's Tuesday, I must be working drugs.
Don Johnson's character, Sonny Crockett, was a beach bum cop, more comfortable in a pair of shorts and flip-flops than silk suits. His style was studied casualness, fitting for a guy fighting drug lords by day, living on a boat by night.
Well, I used to keep his T-shirts in the costume department on a pile on the floor so that they would have the exact wrinkles and look kind of sloppy. He never wore a belt, he never wore socks. He did the least amount to look that way because he was a beach guy.
I got a job. Woo!
And Tubbs came from New York. He was much more formal. He was more self-conscious in his dressing. He chose his tie. He chose his shirt. Crockett threw on the cleanest thing in the morning.
I don't know how this is going to work, Tubbs. I mean, you're not exactly up my alley, style and persona-wise.
In the beginning, Tillen says, Don Johnson fought against high fashion. He wanted more denim and less linen for his character, more like a cowboy and less like an Easter egg.
At first, Don was not comfortable with pastels. He had a different feeling about what he wanted to do with the character. He wanted to wear V-neck sweaters and jeans and cowboy boots.
But he came around to the unconstructed blazers after spending a few days in Miami, where the humidity and heat don't mix with leather and Levi's. After that, Sonny Crockett seemed to have a white linen jacket for every case.
You cheating again, Zito?
As for Philip Michael Thomas, a self-described clothes horse, slipping into Ricardo Tubbs' $1,000 suits was natural.
You think Clark McGable did this?
As he said in this 1985 interview.
When I first got this job, the thing that Michael Mann enjoyed most was when I walked in, I was sharp as a tack. So it's just a continuation of Tubbs.
The Vice look was carefully constructed. There was no color combination that was a mistake. Miami Vice was soon the fashion show of the season, and that meant spending money, lots of it.
We just got a budget for the last 9 shows that we're doing now. We had over $100,000 just for our wardrobe.
Michael said that I was sort of covered, that I could do what it took to get the style and look that he wanted. And he really ran defense because this kind of money on clothes had really never been spent on television.
Building the Vice wardrobe required trips to the fashion capitals of the world, buying the latest styles right off the runway. Designers like the late Gianni Versace became fans and friends of the show.
The first person I dressed up in Miami was Don Johnson.
Then, as the show settled into primetime, the Vice look took off outside the tube. Suddenly, men's closets were filled with colorful blazers and shirts. Even the show's stars adopted the look in their personal lives, as you can see in this 1985 Today Show appearance.
Did you come dressed as the Sonny Crockett we just saw on TV, or is this?
No,
Don
this
Johnson.
is kind of, well, this is mine. This is me. The
Where
style.
are your socks?
I don't own a pair anymore. I decided that if you're going to spend $400 on a pair of shoes, that a pair of $12 socks kind of ruins it.
American men were throwing away their razors, trying to grow Sonny Crockett's 3-day stubble look.
Someone said, why does Crockett always have stubble? And I said, well, he seldom, if ever, wakes up in his own bed. So therefore he doesn't have his shaver and things like that.
3-day stubble, no belts, no socks. They broke the rules of fashion on purpose. Miami Vice wasn't just a TV show. It was the trendsetter of the 80s, influencing how both television shows and their viewers looked. 20 years later, when people think of 1980s style and fashion, they still think of Miami Vice.